let's suppose that you're going to go into a wasp nest removal business. Now, let's suppose it costs me £60 to remove a wasp's nest from inside somebody's attic. Because I've got to go in there, I've got to pay a guy. I'm not doing it. So I've got to pay a bloke in a suit to go in there and puff poison. And he drives around in a van, and we've got some marketing, and there's all sorts of costs. So it cost me 60 quid, right? So I've got a choice of prices I could charge. Now, let's suppose these are my four options. I could charge 70, 90, 140, or 199. Now, what price do you think I should charge? Can you just type into the text box what price you think I should charge? And then we'll do some calculations and we'll work it out in a minute. So 60 is my total cost, everything all in, all my fixed and my variable costs. Now, while you're starting to type, William says 199. Oh, I like it. So let's have a look at this. Now, first of all, we can work the profits out, can't we? Oh, 140. Interesting. Oh, yeah. With this one, I'm only making £10 profit, aren't I? Or dollars, whatever you want to measure it in thousands of rupees, possibly. This one here, we're making 30, we're making 80, we're making 140. Obviously, we're going to sell more at this price, aren't we? Because this is a bargain. But the question is, what's going to maximize our profit? Everyone reckons 140. Oh, Natasha reckons 90. So let's have a look. Now, the next column, I'm going to have to guess a little bit. But I'm going to put some percentages in. Now, this is a total guess. And I would say, first of all, for your market, it might be different. You've got to work these out. There's a way you can find them out. And I'll come to that in a minute. Oh, Rekha says 115. Interesting. I didn't say you could have a price.
It's gone off piste.
Although you can have in between. Why not? Funnily enough, I'm going to come to that as well in a minute. So good audience, though. I love those comments. Well done, everybody. So I reckon if you're charging 70 quid, you're probably going to get 90% of quotes. There's going to be 10% of weirdos who won't even pay 70 quid, even though it's a total bargain. When you get to 90 quid, it's only 20 quid more. You're probably going to still sell 60%, I reckon. When you get to 140, it's starting to get quite pricey, maybe 30%. And by the time you get to 200 quid, you're only going to sell 10%. You're going to get the occasional weirdo or the occasional person who's desperate. Maybe they've got, a barbecue starting in an hour's time and their boss is coming to the barbecue and they've just got to get rid of the wasps or something. And so you'll probably sell a few at that price. And there'll be some sort of percentage like that. Now, if we now work out our profit, let's suppose for every, 10 people who are, or every 100 people who ring up and say, how much is a wasp nest? And you say it's 140 quid, you're going to get 30 of those 100, aren't you? So let's say that's how many we sell. And that's the profit we're making. You can multiply and you can see here's the profit, 900, 1800, 2400 and 1400. So well done, everyone who said 140, because of these four choices, 140 gives me the biggest profit. Although I'm only selling a third of the incoming phone calls, I'm making more profit. And I've got plenty of time off to go down to the beach, of course. And, these people up here are just busy fools. They're doing 3 times as much work and they're making, only a third of the profit. My God, that's crazy. Now, they're offering a lovely service to society. And I think, there are some types of work like the NHS, of course, where, we want to help as many people as we can. But if you're in this for profit, if you're running a business, then this would tell me charge 140. Now, you can do this calculation for your products, whatever your prices would be for whatever you're selling. You know your costs. Then you can work out the profit and then quantity sold. And you can experiment. So wouldn't it be interesting if you were doing wasp nests? Wouldn't it be interesting if you just charged more on Wednesdays and put your price up from 90 to 140 on Wednesdays and just see what proportion, what hit rate you get? Or everybody who rings up who's not got a name beginning with C, just charge them more and just see what happens. And then just keep a log and work out your percentage. And if you find that when you go from 90 to 140, you only sell half as much, that's great. You're making more profit. So you could log that and see. And that's what I did when I put my price up about a year ago, and everybody said yes. So that was interesting. So that I think is an amazing little chart, and you could do it for your area. So, you know, take a screenshot of it or whatever, or have another look at this presentation and make your own one of these. I'll leave it up in the corner for a bit longer as I make some comments. So my thoughts are, first of all, the optimum choice is where you're only getting 30%, you're losing 70% on price. That's the first thing but do you remember I was saying you should be losing about 50% on price based on my lineup of people? And it might be, where is the 50% point? And in fact, one of the guys who commented, it was Greg on 160. Yeah, I don't know, he could be right. But the 50% point, I would say, is somewhere in between here. It might be at 110, it might be at 120, I don't know. Somewhere in between here would be the price where you would only be losing 50%. And I've done a little extra calculation. If it's at 110, then you're making £50 and you're selling 50. So you'd be making 2,500, which is better. And if it's at 120, then you're making £60 and you're selling 50. And that's 3,000. That's a lot better. So I think if this is a graph, the peak of the graph is in between these 2 points somewhere. It's probably at 120. So the best price is probably 120. And then you'd be selling 50%. So you can see my little theory about you should lose 50% on price is proved right by this graph. And I didn't fiddle it. I honestly didn't. I just put in some numbers. But don't believe me. Work it out for yourself. Work it out for your own and test it. So all you do is you just try it. You know, just do it. Just charge 110 and see what you get, and you know, charge 140 and see what you get, and just choose the one that gives you the most profit. By the way, if a price of 110 gives me a profit of 2,500, which I worked out there, didn't I? And if a price of 140 gives me 2,400, I think I would choose the 140. I'm making £100 less, but can you see the difference? Because 110, I'm having to do more work, aren't I? That's the point. Because 140, I'm only doing 30 wasp nest, but at 110, I'm having to do 50 wasp nest. I'm doing almost twice as many wasp nests for another 100 quid. And is it worth it? If I really need that 100, then I would do it. But if I'm not too bothered, I'd be tempted to spend time on the beach and do less work and make nearly as much profit. So anyway, once you understand it, you can make your choices scientifically, can't you?